Everyone, in today's session we will see custom exceptions in Java. At the end of the session we will be able to define what is custom exception and we will be able to use keywords like throw and throws. This is the exception hierarchy in Java. Throwable is a predefined class in the package java.lang. We can only throw and catch the objects of throwable class. So, all the errors and exceptions must extend this throwable parent class. So, only throwable objects can be thrown and caught. All the exceptions and errors extend from the common java.lang.throwable parent class. There are many constructors and methods defined in this throwable class. One of the method is getMessage. We are going to use this getMessage to get the error message and it will be displayed to the user. Errors are nothing but the situation which are not handled by the Java programs. So, these errors will be created by Java virtual machine, and once these errors are created in the program, they cannot be recovered. For example, out of memory is an error. If I want to create a file and there is no enough free space, in such case JVM will create this error. And while using recursion, if we do not choose the proper base condition, the function may call itself infinitely. So, in such case, we may end up with stack overflow and JVM will create stack overflow error. Exceptions are actually those errors which are created due to system and programming errors during runtime. So, exceptions usually disrupts the normal flow of the program and the program execution is terminated abnormally. So, such exceptions must be handled properly. For example, I am trying to open a file and that file does not exist. In such case, I am going to get file not found exception. If I want to display the element from an array which is out of bound, in that case I will be getting array index out of bounds exception. So, these exceptions are already predefined in Java packages. So, all of you can take a pause here and write answer to this question. What is predefined or built-in exception? If we want to create our own exceptions, then we are going to call it as custom exception. Creating our own exception is known as custom exception or user defined exception. If we want to create our own exception, then we need to write a class which will extend the properties of exception class which is there in the package java.language. We need to write a class which will extend the exception class. The name of the class here is myException. Inside this class, we have a constructor function which takes the error message as an argument, and this error message will be passed to the constructor function of the base class, that is exception class here, using the keyword super. If we want to create an exception, then we need to create the object of myException class. We can create the object of myException class using this new keyword. When we will be using new keyword, the constructor function of myException class will be called here, to which we are passing the error message. Then this object will be thrown using the throw keyword. So, throw is a keyword which is used to throw an exception explicitly inside the method or within the block of a code. The exception thrown will be caught and those exceptions will be handled by exception handling mechanisms. So, there might be a situation where the method which is throwing exception, within that method there will not be any exception handling mechanism. So, in such case the error thrown must be forwarded to the calling function. So, to do this operation we are going to use throws keyword. Throws is a keyword which is used in the method signature to indicate that this method might throw an exception and that exception must be handled by the calling method. In today's task, we need to write a Java application to create custom exception class invalid balance exception. So, in this application we need to check the balance value, and if this balance value is less than 500, we need to throw an exception saying that insufficient balance. If the balance is greater than 500, in that case we are going to display the balance value. Now, let us see the program for it. So, this is the program for implementing invalid balance exception. We are importing the scanner class from utility package to read the balance value from the user, and all the classes from language package will be included by default in this application. We are writing class invalid balance exception which is extending the exception class. So, inside this class we have a constructor function invalid balance exception which is taking the error message in the argument S. Now, this error message will be passed to the constructor function of the base class using the super keyword. In class custom exception demo, we have check balance method which is taking balance as an argument. If this balance value is less than 500, we need to create our custom exception by creating the object of invalid balance exception class. And the error message we are going to set is insufficient balance. Now, this exception object will be thrown if balance is less than 500. And if balance is greater than or equal to 500, in that case we are going to display the balance values. You people can observe here, inside this check balance we are just throwing the exception. There is no any mechanism to handle that exception. Then it will become the responsibility of this method to throw that exception to the calling method. So, we are using throws keyword. This method is throwing an object of invalid balance exception. So, this exception must be handled by the calling method. So, main is a function inside which we are going to call that check balance method. So, main will be the calling method of check balance. Inside this main method, we are creating the object of a scanner class to read the data from the keyboard. We are entering the balance. We are going to read the balance value as an integer value using next method from the scanner class, and it will be stored in this balance variable. We are going to call this check balance with this balance value. Now, this method may throw an exception, so we are including this in a try block. If this check balance method will throw an exception, it will be caught by this catch block. Then we are going to get the error message from this object and it will be displayed on the screen. Now, we will run this program. First, we are going to compile a program. Then, we run our program. Here, we need to enter the balance. If I am going to enter the balance as 600, as it is greater than 500, no exception will be thrown, the balance value will be displayed. If I am going to enter the balance value less than 500, the exception will be thrown and it will be handled by the main function, and insufficient balance is displayed on screen. These are some of the references for exception handling in Java. Thank you.